I'm Terry. I'm sitting on the deck of my lake house, wrapped in a thick blanket, sipping hot coffee. The autumn air is crisp, filled with the scent of pine needles and wood smoke. The lake before me is like a mirror, reflecting the orange and red leaves of the surrounding trees. It's quiet, so quiet that it used to terrify me. 6 months ago, my life was a whirlwind of chaos. I was constantly on edge, waiting for the next crisis from my family. But now, as I sit here in this peaceful moment, I can't help but reflect on how far I've come. It all started when I ran into my Uncle Leo at the grocery store. I was holding a basket of oranges, excited about my cousin Ethan's upcoming wedding. I had just found the perfect suit and couldn't wait to celebrate with my family. But Uncle Leo's face told a different story. He looked nervous, his eyes filled with pity. Ethan's wedding was last week, he said, his voice barely above a whisper. It felt like the world stopped. I felt a chill run through my body, and my hands started to shake. I pulled out my phone and opened social media. There were hundreds of photos of the wedding. My parents, my aunts and uncles, and Ethan and his bride were all there, laughing and having a great time. Everyone except me. They had hidden the wedding from me, erased me from their celebration. I was in shock. I couldn't believe that my own family would do this to me. I drove to my parents' house, not really remembering the drive. My mind was stuck on the images of the wedding on my phone. When I pulled into the driveway, the house looked the same as always. The grass was cut, the porch light was on. But as I stared at the front door, I felt sick to my stomach. I felt like a stranger in my own family. I walked into the house. It was a Wednesday night, family dinner night. Usually, I was there, but tonight my phone had been silent. My parents and Ethan were sitting at the dining table, eating. They looked up when I walked in, and the laughter stopped. It was an instant silence, like a switch had been flipped. "Mom, Dad, I saw the photos of Ethan's wedding," I said, my voice quiet but steady. My father put down his fork and took a sip of his wine. "It was a small ceremony, Terry. Very small." I looked at him in disbelief. There were 100 people in the photos. I saw cousins from across the country. I saw Ethan's college friends. My mother wiped her mouth with a napkin. "It happened very fast. We didn't want to overwhelm you. You've been so busy with work." I couldn't believe what I was hearing. Busy? It was my cousin's wedding. I asked you about the date 3 times last month, and you told me it hadn't been set yet. Ethan finally looked up, his face defensive. "Look, Terry, don't make a scene. This is exactly why we did it this way. You always bring so much drama." I felt like I had been slapped in the face. Drama? I've spent my entire adult life taking care of this family. I've been there for you through every crisis, every birthday, every holiday. My mother pointed a finger at me. "This is what we mean. You're always making things about you. It's exhausting, Terry." My father cut another piece of steak. "We just wanted one day where we didn't have to worry about your mood." And it was lovely, very peaceful. I stood there, watching them eat, feeling like an outsider. I realized that they didn't see me as a family member. They saw me as a utility, someone to be used when they needed something. A few days later, Ethan called me. His voice was cheerful, as if nothing had happened. "Hey, Terry, how are you? I have a favor to ask. Sarah and I didn't really get a honeymoon, and we were thinking of using your lake house. Mom and Dad said it would be fine." I couldn't believe my ears. "You didn't invite me to your wedding, and now you want to use my lake house for your honeymoon?" Ethan sighed. "Come on, Terry. It's family property. What's yours is ours, right?" That was the moment I realized that I had to stand up for myself. I had been so eager to please my family, to be the responsible one, that I had let them take advantage of me for years. "I'm not being petty," I said. "I'm waking up. I'm going to the lake house this weekend, and no, you can't have the keys. Book a hotel. I hung up the phone, my heart pounding. I knew that I had just started a war with my family, but I also knew that I couldn't go on like this anymore. I drove to the lake house, determined to find the truth. I remembered signing the papers for the house when my grandfather died. He had built this place, and my parents had convinced me to put it in my name because of their bad credit. They had promised me a family trust, but I had never seen any documents. When I arrived at the lake house, I went straight to the office and opened the filing cabinet. I started pulling out folders: mortgage, insurance, taxes. I sat on the floor, surrounded by papers, and started reading. The deed was in my name, and every single mortgage payment for the past 10 years had come from my personal checking account. There was no family trust. It was all a lie. I felt a surge of anger. They had lied to me for a decade, let me pay for everything, while they convinced me that I was just a steward of their property. I knew I couldn't do this alone. I called my friend Maya. I told her everything: the wedding, the request for the lake house, the fake trust. She listened, and then she said, "Terry, you need a lawyer. This is financial abuse." The next day, I met with a lawyer named Ava. She was tough, straight to the point. She looked at the papers and said, "You're the sole legal owner of the property. But we need to lock this down before they try to take it from you." Ava also recommended a forensic accountant named Ryan. He looked at my finances and found that I had been paying for my parents' cell phones, my mother's car insurance, and a storage unit for my father's old furniture for years. I had also co-signed a loan for Ethan's business, and he had missed several payments, which was hurting my credit score. I was shocked. I had been so focused on taking care of my family that I hadn't realized how much they were taking from me. Ava and Ryan drafted letters. They canceled my authorized user status on my parents' credit cards, sent a cease and desist letter regarding the lake house, and informed the bank that I would not renew the co-signing agreement for Ethan's loan. 3 days later, I was at my desk at work when the phone rang. It was the security guard in the lobby. "Mr. Terry, I have 3 individuals here to see you. They say they are your family, and they're quite agitated." I knew it was coming. They showed up at my work, trying to ambush me. When I walked down to the lobby, I saw my parents and Ethan. My mother was screaming at the security guard, my father was standing behind her with his arms crossed, and Ethan was pacing around. "What is the meaning of this?" my mother shouted. "Our cards were declined, and the bank called Ethan about the loan." "Are you insane?" I looked at her calmly. "I'm not insane. I'm just finished. You've been using me for years, and I'm done." My father barked, "Open this gate. We need to talk." I said, "No. We don't. The lake house is mine, and you're not welcome." Ethan shouted, "You're ruining everything over a party. Get over it." I looked at him. "It's not about the party. It's about the lies, the theft, and the exploitation. You've taken advantage of my love for you for too long." My mother grabbed the bars of the turnstile and shook them. "We're your family. How can you be so cruel?" I looked at her. "What have you done for me? Besides use me and ignore me when it suits you." The security guard stepped forward. "Ma'am, you're causing a disturbance. You need to leave the building, or I'll call the police." My mother spat at him, "You wouldn't dare." The guard looked at me. "Mr. Terry, do you want them removed?" I looked at my family, at their angry faces, and I said, "Yes, please remove them. They're harassing me." My mother gasped. "You will regret this. You will come crawling back." I turned my back on them and walked back to the elevator. As the doors closed, I felt a strange sense of relief. I had finally stood up for myself. A few days later, Uncle Leo came to my apartment. He was carrying a worn briefcase. He sat down on the sofa and opened the briefcase. He pulled out a stack of papers, old emails, handwritten notes. I was the executor of your grandfather's estate initially, he said. Before your father took over, I kept copies of everything. I've been on the family email chain, and I printed these because I didn't trust them. He handed me an email from my father to my mother, dated 10 years ago. It said, "We can put the lake house in Terry's name. He's got a good job and is eager to please. We'll tell him it's a family trust, and let him pay the mortgage. It's a win-win." I read the email over and over again. It was a plan, a strategy to use me. They had seen my love and loyalty as a weakness. There was more. A handwritten note from my mother showed a budget plan where they planned to ask me to co-sign loans for Ethan's college and use the money saved from not paying the lake house mortgage for their retirement. I felt sick. They had planned this for my entire adult life. They had seen me as a bank account, a resource to be exploited. Uncle Leo said, "I'm sorry, Terry. I should have told you earlier, but I was afraid of starting a war with your father." I took the papers and thanked him. I knew that these were the evidence I needed to protect myself. After that, the fallout was slow but inevitable. Once the money stopped, my family's world started to fall apart. The cell phones were cut off, the storage unit was at risk of being auctioned, and Ethan's business was in trouble. My parents tried to maintain appearances, but I could see through it. They posted photos on social media of them smiling at a cheap diner, but I knew they were struggling. A week later, I received a letter from an attorney representing my parents. They were threatening to sue me for elder abuse and emotional distress. I showed the letter to Ava. She laughed. "This is a joke. They have no case, and we have the evidence of their fraud. If they sue, we'll counter-sue for the money you've spent on the storage unit and the house maintenance." Ava sent a reply, listing the amount of money I had given them over 10 years, over $200,000, including the house payments. It ended with a simple sentence, "Mr. Terry is willing to forego recovering these stolen funds in exchange for a permanent severance of all contact. If you pursue this, we will seek full repayment." We never heard from their lawyer again. They couldn't afford a legal fight, and they knew they would lose. A month later, I received an email from my father. "Terry, enough is enough. We're family. Meet us at the park by the river. No yelling, just a conversation." I debated not going, but Ava told me it might be good to have closure. I asked Uncle Leo to come with me as a witness. When we met them at the park, my parents looked small. My father's shoulders were slumped, and my mother looked older. "We want our son back," my mother said, reaching out a hand to touch me. I took a step back. "You never had a son. You had a bank account." My mother cried, "We love you. The wedding was a mistake. We're sorry." I looked at her. "You're not sorry you did it. You're sorry you got caught, and you're sorry the money stopped." My father said, "We're struggling, Terry. The bills are piling up, and Ethan is in trouble." I said, "I know. I saw the mess you're in. You've made your choices, and now you have to live with them." My mother pleaded, "Just unlock the lake house. Let Ethan use it for a few weekends. Help us with the loan payments." I said, "No. No access to the lake house ever. I'm putting it on the rental market. And no shared finances. I'm not paying your phone bill or the storage unit. And no contact. If you try to reach me, I'll call the police." My mother whispered, "You can't do that. We're your parents." I said, "I can, and I am." I turned to Uncle Leo. "I'm ready to go." As we walked away, my mother started screaming my name. But I kept walking. I was finally free. Now, sitting here at the lake house, I look around and see a place that is truly mine. I've painted the front door a bright blue, and I've turned the second bedroom into a study. I've listed the house on a vacation rental site, and it's bringing in enough money to pay the taxes and insurance. I've also started therapy, and I've been spending time with Maya and Uncle Leo. We have dinner every Sunday, and we talk about books, movies, and life. I've realized that family isn't just about blood. It's about the people who respect you, who support you. I look down at my phone. It's silent. No missed calls, no angry texts. I smile and put the phone down. I breathe in the cold, clean air. This is what peace feels like, and it's all mine.